Our next guest is an Emmy-nominated writer and comedian you know from his work on Saturday Night Live, which airs this Saturday on NBC and streams live on Peacock with host Pedro Pascal and musical guest Coldplay. Please welcome to the show, Andrew Dismukes, everybody.
Thanks for having me, dude. I'm so excited.
This is your first talk show. I'm very excited to experience it with you.
First talk show ever. Everybody says you're the best one to do it with.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Sucking up immediately.
Immediate suck up. Well, there you go. Now I'm going to not ask any of my gotcha questions.
Yeah. Oh, that's your style. That's your mode.
So you started on the show as a writer. That's when I first met you.
Yes.
Now you're a cast member.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first experience meeting Lorne Michaels? I mean, feel like 6 years, you might not feel like you fully know him yet, but...
Oh, no. I've talked to him maybe 5 times in my life. No, he's great. The first time I met him, I remember, like, it's in that meeting that you know where it's, like, very cryptic if you have the job or not. And he asked me if I had any questions for him, and I'm a huge Paul Simon fan, so I asked him about Paul Simon. He told me a lot about Paul Simon. And he mentioned that him and Paul Simon would go on these road trips to central Louisiana, where my family is from. And so I mentioned that, and he was like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, beautiful part of the country. Cut to a year later, Paul Simon's the musical guest, and Lorne introduces me to Paul Simon and says, Andrew, this is Paul. Andrew's from central Louisiana, where we went on all those road trips. And Paul was like, oh, that's great. It's a really beautiful part of the country. And I was like, I'm actually from Texas. But my family's from that area, and it is a beautiful place. And I also imagine it is a wonderful place to grow up. And Paul was like, okay, cool. And then I turned to look at Lorne, and Lorne is looking at me like, could you just be chill, dude? Like, introducing you to my friend Paul, and you're like big dogging me, like... So I gotta mend some fences.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, you know, I give it another 6 years, and I'm sure it'll be back to normal.
Yeah. You know, we'll have 5 more conversations.
Exactly. Did you remember your first table read? Did you have nerves for that experience?
I did have nerves, but I pulled a move that would make people think I was like the most confident kid in the world. Where I showed up to my very first table read in flip-flops. Which apparently not allowed. Not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
I learned. It was like, I was kind of late to the table read, so everybody was there. It was really quiet. And then you just hear coming down the hallway. And then I walk out and I'm like, hey, everybody, it's me, new writer. And I was like sitting at table read doing this really like douchey thing people do with flip-flops. So it's like slapping against your bare foot disgustingly. And then the next day I got a call from my manager who was like, hey, how's your first week going? Heard this crazy story. Apparently you wore flip-flops? That's crazy, right? I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I did. And she was like, okay. Can't do that. Gotta wear shoes, but can't have your feet out.
It's so funny, a place that has history with some very hard drugs.
Yes.
The line is no flip-flops.
They're like, Coke, hell yeah. Flops?
No flops.
Don't bring that here.
Your parents, as we've established, from Louisiana, then raised you in Texas. Mm-hmm. Is this something they saw for you? Did they have an expectation that you would want to go into comedy?
I think, like, you know, I got in trouble in school and stuff for, like, talking a lot.
Yeah.
So that kind of...
Dead giveaway.
Yeah, but they were still surprised. They were definitely surprised when I said I wanted to go into comedy. And then they were pleasantly surprised when I got SNL. That was kind of the thing where they were like, oh, okay, so this is real. You know, that kind of thing, yeah.
Now, I remember my early years on the show. It's very touch and go how often you're going to be in any given episode.
Yes.
Have your parents ever been to one? And have they been to one where you're in a lot? Have they been to one where you're in a little?
They have been to almost exclusively ones where I have not been in very much.
Is that awkward?
It's a little awkward just because, like, they're in your dressing room and you're there, like, the whole time, you know? And you're, like, watching the show and you're just like, this one's really good. You're like, you gotta see this one. Bowen is going off in this one, so you're gonna like that. But they're great and they're always so excited.
Do you have people in your hometown who are impressed or maybe the opposite?
So many of the people I grew up with are, like, super supportive and great. My favorite teacher that I ever had is my French teacher in high school. And he was just like this like Dead Poets Society type, like had like a band of kids who like followed him around and just thought he was like God. And he would watch SNL every week. And then on Sundays, he would post like scathing takedowns of SNL, just like 18th century literary critic, like scathing takedowns of the show. And we all loved SNL, especially that era. So every Monday we would be like, hey, did you watch the show? What'd you think? And he would just be like, garbage, tripe. And we were, but so then when I got the show, he did like comment and was like, congratulations, I always knew you would do it, that kind of thing.
Oh, well, that's very nice. Gotcha.
Yeah, he still hates the show, but
well, that's all right. As is his right.
As is his, I would not respect him if he switched up just because I'm on the show.
This is, I think, my first year on the show. One of the sketches I was in, I was in a full bear suit, so you couldn't see me at all, and I was very proud of it. You played a dog, but you were just the dog's hand.
Yeah, the dog.
So this was a dog who had human hands.
Yeah, this is like my second year as a writer, and fun fact, I think this is the role that like got me into the unions. This was like the last punch on my SAG card, and yeah, I was a dog's hands.
And by the way, you and the dog worked very well together.
Yeah, we had chemistry.
The more you look at it, you're like, I believe that's...
It's just when you work with like, you know, legends, they do it all for you.
So you knew this dog ahead of time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I knew Gizmo. Oh, I was familiar. This is me. I'm in like a giant hoodie with this dog, just like bear hugging him. And I asked the writers, I was like, why did y'all pick me to do this? Streeter Seidel and Mikey Day wrote this one. And they were like, we needed somebody with like disproportionately long arms and like a crazy flat torso. And they were like, who's like the Ichabod Crane of SNL? And that was me.
And now, have you added that to your headshot under special skills, that you have a flat torso and super long arms?
Yeah, it's like horseback riding, flat torso, crazy long arms.
Well, you're the actor for that, I will say. And man, it's been so much fun watching you grow into the cast. And like I said, when I introduced you, you were so great last Saturday. Thanks so much,
dude.
You guys, that's Andrew Dismukes. SNL this Saturday on NBC, streams live on Peacock with host Pedro Pascal and musical guest Coldplay. We'll be right back with Ryan Johnson.